Greetings, my name's Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And welcome back to Sunless Sea. Last time, we briefly dealt with the fierce philanthropist, including her to the 7. Well, it was a little less brief than I expected it to be, because I had to go back to Fallen London and all the way to Mount Palmerston to get the resources, but other than that, brief. And we dealt with some stuff involving the pirate poet and the merciless Medivh, who apparently know each other. It remains to be seen whether that knowing is in the biblical sense. Anyways, so we've got 3 more members of the 7, but 2 more reports that should have them. I know one's here, but I don't know if it's actually possible to fruit him. He's kind of indisposed at the moment. Might be another Lorenzo situation. But yeah. Time to swing all the way up to here, to the last undersea port that I haven't actually gone to. Although, maybe I should swing like Adam's Way first to pick up that clay stuff. Yeah, I might as well. Didn't mean to. Oh man, my fuel is kind of low. Well, on my way to here from Adam's Way, I'll stop by Rack to refill. Ah, shit. Twice to be in the pass. Oh, Mountain Sherd. Don't want to use that. Maybe I can summon Mountain Nomad with it, but I don't really want to do that. It's better to just, you know, find Mountain Nomad naturally. It's very much not worth an entire Mountain Sherd to kill for a single Mountain Nomad, you know? I've got the feathers. 25 royal blue feathers. Blimey. I sure hope... Okay, good. They're not cargo. That would be ridiculous. Just casually picking up 25 units of cargo. Jesus. Well, what was I saying? Ah, right. Mount Nomad. I mean, unless you're desperate to immediately encounter Mount Nomad. Oh, Shrine to Stone. I don't need that anymore, do I? Yeah. Oh, Divine Clay, right. I need it for that, of course. Alright. Fuel prices are not terrible, but I can go without. Okay, I thought I was gonna have to go into Adam's Way itself. Oh, damn it. I didn't mean to do that. I thought I was picking up a port report. Shit. Whatever, I'll pick... Oh yeah, I forgot about this. I picked up a suffer ages ago on that bozo's request. You have contained the creature in a barrel. You order it rolled to the broken door. A tad rude, but alright. A job well done. Excellent. Roll it on in, my friend. I owe you another lunch, I think. But first, your payment. He hands you a large cream envelope. Inside is a chart. Its folds stiff with Z salt. The corner is stamped with the seal of the Empress herself. It is labeled First Voyage of the Galatea, 1867, and shows a tenuous, roving course across the Untersee. Oh, sweet, a Rolls-Royce chart. I could read that for a secret if need be. Oh, I've got a lot of them. When did I get so many? Could've sworn I traded most of mine. Or secrets. As you leave, the avuncular broker is keen to keep in touch. Perhaps I will have another commission for you after a conversation with our mutual friend. He pats the top of the barrel. The thing inside kicks. Alright. The avuncular broker's second commission. His invitation is urgent. A complication. This time he meets you in a private room. A lady in a neat buttoned suit sits beside him, flicking through an English phrase book. She seems quietly pleased. Sit, sit, the Brooker urges. His avuncularity is diminished. The snuffer you caught was extremely surprised by its interrogation. It was under the impression that it was working for us. One of our London diplomats has decided that the expedience of using snuffers outweighs the prohibition on associating with them. He is incorrect. He introduces his associate, a hands-on diplomat. I'd like you to see her safely to the Presbyterate Embassy in London. She will explain her colleague's error to him, and replace him in his position. Thereupon, she will pay you. The payment is generous. It covers your discretion, as well as your service. Alright, next time in London then? Oh yeah, and the adventuress. Go ashore with the adventuress. I'll admit it, I would like one last look around, but we're not going inland. The college would sniff me out soon enough. A distant light. You both climb a hill to look out over the estuary. The sea curls below. Smoke rises from the chimneys. The mountain glimmers on the horizon. You call her Stone, don't you? The adventuress says. The mountain, I mean. It's as good a name as any other. We have too many names for her. One for every day of the year. I could never get them right. And I resented her. I still do. She has all that life to give, and none of it for me. Because my bloody father got greedy. Yeah. All that life to give, and yet... to have the power to so easily grant eternal life to everyone, and yet to restrict it so greatly. That is evil. She snorts. The bazaar is a mountain's mother, they say, or her father. I don't understand how these things work. I wonder if she ever complains about her parents. Probably. Alright. Now we get the storyteller. There we go. Alright. Time to go. Where do we go? Ah yes, you have the divine clay. What now? A meeting. The set operates from a submarine, the Irrepressible, which makes them incredibly hard to find. However, I have a contact in London who might be able to arrange a meeting. Alright. Alright, so 2 reasons to swing by London. First, rack. I know you can actually encounter the Irrepressible in the Undersea. I think. Fairly certain. Yeah. Be funny if we did encounter them. Yeah, hope we don't have any contraband. Well, it doesn't matter now. Oh! London and Glory. Ah, yeah. Here's the thing, because we increased London's supremacy to a certain level. Without increasing any of the other supremacies, we get this event. London and Glory. In the streets and pubs of London, there is an air of jubilation. As the Empress had an unexpected daughter, has Parliament successfully abolished fog? There is singing. Listen to the song. Is that your name? A light in farthest darkness. I don't know what the meter of that is. It's a cheaply printed, badly written, painfully catchy popular song, but it has your name in it. Your deeds for empire, secret or not, have won glory for London, and won you glory with it. The Navy's reputation is a little less tarnished, the parks of London a little less dank, the seas a little safer. Over the next few days, your hull is crammed with gifts from admirers. Ah. Glorious, indeed. I love little things like this. You really feel like you're making a difference, you know? Yeah, it's quite nice. It's just a shame that this has basically no effect on anything. Kind of puts a damper on the whole making a difference thing. A lot of the stories in this game are just too atomized, you know? They don't really have much effect on each other, alas. Alright, the contact. Goes the pirate poet to meet her contact. A dark alley. No easier way for some privacy. Not the contact you expected. Someone awaits you at the place agreed upon, but the way the pirate poet tenses up tells you that this isn't the woman she expected. The stranger is a middle-aged woman in a dirty apron, and with a tool belt full of different carving instruments. Even before the pirate poet greets her, and I just realized I should have gone to Polydream for the Merciless Medivh stuff, damn it, while I was there nearby. You know that it's the silent sculptress who stands in front of you. There isn't much of a conversation, since the sculptress is as silent as her name. The pirate poet proposes her deal with a neutral tone, an expressionless face, while her opposite glowers menacingly in response. However, the silent sculptress's behavior changes in an instant the second the pirate poet shows her the divine clay. Her eyes are almost glued to the blessed material, but the clay woman hands it to you and tells her that she will only receive it after a successful operation. Once again, the hateful gaze of the silent sculptress bores into the pirate poet, who doesn't react in any way. After a few minutes of tense silence, the sculptress nods and gestures for the poet to follow her. Your officer does so without hesitation. Well, I sure hope we didn't lose her permanently. That would be silly. The aftermath. You wait almost 2 hours, but finally both the pirate poet and the silent sculptress return. A deal is a deal. There's a long scar starting from the clay woman's chest and running along her abdomen, but otherwise she seems fine. A scar? Do claymen scar? I don't know. Or do they just mean like a crack? Like a hairline crack sort of thing. I don't know. The silent sculptress walks directly towards you and extends her arm in a demanding way. At your questioning expression, the pirate poet nods and you give the sculptress the divine clay. Later, back on the ship, you watch the pirate poet placing an oval of black metal cautiously in a small leather bag. It's strange to feel your emotions like they are part of you while holding them in your hand, she says to herself. Afterwards, she turns around to face you. Before I drank the Heartsease tonic, I wrote to cope with the death of my crew. I think it's fitting when I carve my verses into this new vessel of sorrow. After that, I want to bring it to Frostfound, a place of memories, as a monument for those I lost to the sea. Well, you're in luck because I'm going that way anyways. As if to assure you, she adds, don't worry, you don't have to accompany me inside. That is something I have to do on my own anyway. Alright, got her back. Good. Lost the divine clay, but oh well. I wonder if anything's changed here. Oh, I can go another one of these. Mount Palmerston again, wow. Again, I was going that way anyways, so. Lucky. Wow. It's a shame. I really think that it, like the whole thing, the whole stuff with the London and Glory stuff is pretty damn cool, but I wish it changed a bit more, you know? Ah yes, decide whether to complete the avuncular broker's mission. The hands-on diplomat is anxious to take up her new post, and no doubt you're anxious to be paid. Alright, the hands-on diplomat slides bullets into her pistol. Time to go, she says, slipping it into her satchel. She shares the name of the man she is to replace, and shows you his picture. A dapper chap, dark-eyed, dark-skinned, smiling. Yes, this is why I chose this specific person for my sweetheart. Because, yeah, this is in fact the person that you can, and now you can choose. You can stall her just in case you want to back out, although you can just do perhaps not instead. Warn your sweetheart to give him time to escape, or escort her safely to your sweetheart's door. It's safe to say this will end your relationship. No shit. Let's warn him. Undoing the Prester's work. That's what I'm doing, what I've been doing this whole time, or at least preparing to do so. While the hands-on diplomat gathers her things, you dispatch your bosun to their presbyterate embassy. Then you set out yourself, leading your charge on a circuitous route. The embassy is hidden in London's sewers, and you are both sodden and reeking by the time you reach it. You find the door open, the offices abandoned, the cabinets have been plundered, discarded documents are strewn across the floor. The hands-on diplomat gives you a level look. She slides her pistol back into her satchel with disappointment. A shame. Here, partial payment for a partial A gunshot echoes thunderously through the tunnels. The hands-on diplomat falls into the muck, her fatal expression one of startlement. There is a tiny, splintered hole in the embassy door. Your dapper chap steps out from behind it. I do dislike fanatics, he frowns, dragging his would-be replacement inside. Got your message. I thought about running, but I still have work to do. I thought a little stage setting would drop her guard, though. Worked rather well, don't you think? Now come here. His smile is deep. His lips are warm. Oh yeah. That's just like easily the coolest way to end this storyline. Why do I have so many coffee beans? Did I need them for something? I don't think I do. I think I just got them from something and forgot to deposit them. There we go. Keep 3 as usual. 3 is the number. Well, not the number. But it's a good number. And so is 39. Alright. Back in my save, and let's go. Damn it, I forgot to... Okay. I can fix this. How, you ask? With Mandom, of course. Just like I did in Frostbound all those episodes ago. Here we go. Escort the Deviless to the Brass Embassy. London. Oh, the souls, the souls. I haven't smelt so many since... She inhales, eyes closed, face wrapped. Your hackney carriage approaches the embassy. A discreet arrival. The urbane devil meets you in the Deviless by one of the embassy's lesser entrances. He bows, she bows. They chatter together in what is held hissing, clicking languages, and laugh at a shared joke. For a moment you seem forgotten, but she turns back. To thank you? No, to pay you. All shall be well now, she says gleefully, and all manner of things shall be well. You've done a terrible thing, and I am terribly grateful. Take this. This is a smoldering ruby from the throat of Mount Palmerston. It is scorching hot from her touch. She chuckles fondly as you juggle it hastily from hand to hand. Perhaps I'll see you again. You're so much fun. I try. Alright. Oh, calling card. Evidently we will see each other again. A smoky flake of hand-lettered vellum. The wistful Deviless has come to visit. She is as elegant as ever. A little careworn, though. You almost think she looks older, but she will never look older. I miss the peace of that place, she says. Palmerston. There was a little wind that walked in the grey grass on the mountain slopes. It carried the smell of ashes. I hated it because it reminded me of home, but now I wake, and I think I hear it. At the convention, I had a purpose. We were going to destroy so many things. I lost faith in that purpose, but I have no more faith here. I should never have made you bring me here. Let's see. Sympathy for the Deviless. Console her as best as you can. No sympathy for the Deviless. All her problems, every single one, are problems of her own making. Tell her to stiffen up and stop moping. Offer to take her back to Palmerston if that's what she wants, or a marriage proposal for the Deviless. Do you have feelings for her? Or is this a strategy on your part? Oh man, this would be funny. And this would just be downright cruel. And this is a bit too soft. Tell her to stiffen her back and stop moping. Good advice. A thoughtful pause. Easy to say, she remarks eventually. But that doesn't make it bad advice. She stubs her cigarette out on your table. Rude. No, you're right. This isn't the first home we lost, and it won't be the last. If I wanted to settle down, I'd still be tincturing the hive in Parabola. We all would. She gives you her toothiest grin. Alright. I have lives to ruin. Perhaps I'll see you again. Don't drown. Break a leg out there, I suppose. Alright then, back up the road. The Deviless is gone. What now guards the gate? A vile hive. When you come inside of the cottage, you think for a moment that it's been overgrown with glistening black ivy. A few more steps and you notice the ivy is shifting in the wind, before you realize that, as is generally the case in the Nath, there is no wind to speak of. The ivy heaves like the sea, and the closest portions then lifts and dissolves. The air is filled with a deep and savage buzzing. A cloud of great black bees rises above the cottage, extends a limb in your direction. You back away. You do not run. Alrighty then. Alright, grab this, and this, and anything else? Got a bit of zoop, why not? Heh, nice feel. Oh yeah, I love the entity around there. Alright, here we go. Ant. God, I love how utterly unique all of these Untrue ports are in appearance. Look at it. They call it the City of Flowers, but the flowers are crystals. Spiral matrices grown on the walls of Anthian caves. The inhabitants of Anth are at least partially crystal too. They call it going sharp, becoming more perfect, and clearer, and colder. Alright. Study the chambers of Anth. Wander where you can. Gain a preliminary understanding of the place. Good place to get ambiguous ELS, but I don't think I've ever actually needed an ambiguous ELS, so... Those who go sharp. The inhabitants of Anth go sharp. Not all at once, but piece by piece, they turn to crystal. They sort themselves by sharpness too. The sharp-handed cluster with others of their kind, ignoring the keen-footed and the brittle-waisted. To progress through Anth is to take on more and more of these attributes, to enter the deeper chambers restricted by sharp style. Choose which chambers you would most like to discover. The Anthians speak of a woman named Rosina, dying of a curious disease, and sequestered among the sharp spleen. Alrighty then. I'll need... Let's see. Gather a report on Anth. The Admiralty will want stories of this place. Want is a strong word. Rumors and extrapolations. Access to Anth is restricted by type of sharpness. Those who are sharp in the ears do not necessarily mingle with the sharp-tongued. As for the inhabitants who are sharp throughout their full bodies, they don't circulate much. There is said to be a cavern, broad and shallow-floored, where the perfectly sharp grow old together. They aren't capable of anyone else's company anymore. At least that's what you're told, and you can hardly go and ask. At any rate, they are more like growing crystals than like people, slowly expanding and bonding with the rock. Man, this is reminding me of the crystal caves from Hollow Knight. Alrighty then. Rosina. Rosina. Well, it seems as though we may need to deal with this one, then. Consider your own condition. Should you go sharp, or have you already taken on a sharpness that you now regret? Learning and rumor. Consult the woman with the cubicle eyes. Learn how to accept the blessings that Anth offers. Determine what is best for yourself, and whose companionship you seek in the bubble caverns. Alright. Let's see. A woman gives advice to new Anthians. Her eyes are cubes of salt. She speaks of going sharp as a numbness. That's ironic. And as an awakening. As the loss of sensation and the beginning of insight. Some Anthians use other metaphors. Clarity, dryness, regularity and structure. How distressing. Fortunately, such things are reversible. See? Get away all your sharpness. Yep, at the cost of a wound. Essentially, you're abusing the fact that people are, that immortality, that a certain semi-immortality is consistent throughout the Naath. And so you're cutting away parts of yourself that have become sharp in order to re-grow them as normal limbs. Anyways, time to cultivate the capacity for sharpness. It isn't easy to go sharp as the Anthians do, but most who come here find themselves desiring the condition sooner or later. Well, I can't say the same for me, but seems like a necessity. Heh, that rhymed. Well then, let's get to it then. Cultivate the capacity for sharpness. Knights of meditation. They're the knights who say... The environment is a help. But you must also prepare your mind and your will. Going sharp means giving up many sensations. Alright, I guess let's do it again then. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. So it's got an increasingly high cost of meter salt. Also the unread log. And it's also only a 50% chance of success. That seems terrible, even if the alternative is a lower chance of success on this. I mean, what's the cost of failing, anyways? I may never know. I intend to succeed forever. Blimey. Okay, 7 terror. Oh, that's interesting. There's no actual... Okay, so there's terror game, but there's no terror requirement. So that means I could just keep doing it. Okay, well, I could potentially just keep doing this over and over again, even if my terror reaches 100, so long as there's some way of reducing terror here, then. Is there? Especially considering Frostbound is right nearby, so if I can... That... Let's see, okay, which ones do I want to go? Oh, of course, the spleen. Surrender your capacity for anger. Join the society of diplomats, saints, and cold-blooded tyrants. Alright then, why not? This is a plan with neither flaw nor chance of error. Well, I mean, it seems fairly easy to get rid of them, so why not? Alright. Sadly, these treatments don't really have much consequences outside of Ant. For the most part, it's like you might as well be as if you don't have them. It would be neat if they had more wide-reaching consequences, but yeah. Oh yeah, also, if I recall, I can remove these even cheaper. These various sharpnesses even without even needing to gain a wound over in Polythrene. So there's even less issue with having them. I guess the truth here is become crystal. It's both fun and profitable, and has no consequences. I feel like that tends to feel like a theme here in this game, where there's like stuff that seems really ominous, but then it's actually perfectly fine, and you can do it all you want and have almost no consequences. Kinda weird, but I mean, if that's the theme they're going for, it's pretty neat. Actually, you know... Yeah, actually, there's sort of a similar thing in Fallen London. Not to this, but I mean, like, the sort of theme where there's a lot of stuff in Fallen London that seems like the standard sort of horrifying horrors down in the underground and all that, but a lot of it is actually perfectly fine, like shapling arts, for instance, like twisting the body into horrific abominations. It's actually pretty useful and has very little actual negative consequences. I mean, there's the starved men, but that their weirdness is a consequence. I mean, they do delve into weirdness of the shapling arts, and they're also fucking weirdos themselves. But those are a consequence. Them being such bozos is not a consequence of the shapling arts, but rather due to their deprived conditions, which is why they delved into the Changeling arts in the first place so heavily. So these weird, bizarre, and seemingly horrifying stuff are certainly associated with horrible stuff, but it's not actually that horrible itself, or at least it doesn't have horrible consequences. It's interesting. It's an interesting subversion of general, like, horror tropes, you know? And in a way that feels very natural in a lot of times. Anyways, the Venia Salon. Descend into the nth chamber reserved for those who flourish at the spleen. The stone of the chamber is veined with red. Some members of the Venia Salon wear clothes that reveal the midriff, so that one can see the telltale points of the crystal form under their skin. Or the crystal form under their skin? I don't know. It is a party game here to take turn reading aloud offensive letters to the London newspapers and insulting missives from home, and to compete at not caring in the least. In other words, they're too cool for school. See? They may be undergoing some bizarre shit, but people are people everywhere. That's really the thesis of Fallen London and its derivatives. Regardless of the strange nature of reality, people remain people. Alright, visit Rosina in her chambers. She is both healer and patient, convalescing in an ice bath among the sharp spleen. The Anthians speak of her often. Ice crystals. The air gets chillier as you approach, and there are patches of frost on the walls. I don't know. Ice in some ways is like crystals, but more. The cavern is crowded. In the center is a bathtub full of ice, in which sits a woman in an obvious state of illness. Several Anthians attend her, one with deft, clear fingers. Then there are a number of people attending, who mostly talk amongst themselves, but sometimes turn to watch Rosina. Alright. Meet Rosina. She has seen you come in. It's none of your concern whether she lives or dies. Wow, rude. Baked from within. Rosina is dying of enemescence. Oh, fancy seeing that disease again. We just spent all that time, curing that one lady of it. Maybe that's gonna happen again. That feels a bit repetitive, but I'm sure it'll be significantly different. I mean, she, for instance, seems a bit farther along. Any passion spreads the disease. Because yes, after all, it's a disease of the soul. And souls are characterized by emotion. That's one of the main ways you can tell the soulless, is that they tend to have... they don't not have emotions, but they have duller emotions. Souls, by the way, are what the stars consume as fuel, and the emotions are the flavor. But that's a complicated thing. She must, therefore, lie very still in an ice bath and think of things that do not interest her. Sounds like a terrible existence, but alright. Going sharp in the spleen protects her against the passion of anger, but other passions are still a danger. If she was in modern day, she could and she needed to while away her days with things that didn't really interest her, but were at least mildly, or at least capable of keeping her attention for long periods of time without any real emotion, well, she could surf YouTube. For a long time, she looked for a cure to the disease. Tradition ascribes healing features to certain poems, ointments, and postures of the body, but these only delay the gradual combustion. Almost stable. That's comforting. Well, I guess I guess we could ask her to rejoin the 7 against Nidal. Feels like it's a bit... Feels like it'd be a bit gauche, though, at the moment. So, let's see. Learn more of Rosina. Speak to her of her choices and what she requires. I sure hope there's some kind of tie-in between the two stories. That would be it would be a bit silly if the indomitable campaigner couldn't at least look at her. She tells you her story. For a long time, she looked for cures of the body. I was certain the inhabitants of the Elder Continent would be able to correct what is wrong, she says, but if they know how, they refuse to say. Now, I merely keep back the disease as long as I can, and seek cures of the sentiment instead. If I keep very calm, my symptoms subside. If you find anything in your travels, works of philosophy or guidance, that might help me compose myself, bring them to me. So yeah, gonna bring stuff. Needle of Fortas. I doubt that'll help. Provide a dry lecture on the social stratification of visage. Obscure pedantry might be just the thing for Rosina. You have the tongue to tell it. Man, I just remembered I haven't done the whole visage storyline at all. Blimey. Let's see. Find out what all the onlookers are for. They aren't assisting in any medical proceedings. Carrion birds. You put your questions. Rosina glances over at the cluster of men and women. Her expression is blank. The emotion that ought to be there has been controlled, or wiped away. There are certain idiotic sects, she says. People who want to suffer what I have. They follow me around, hoping to be infected by my conflagration. Ugh. Bloody weirdos. See, this is what I mean when I talk about death cultists. Let's see. What can we get for her that will actually help? I don't know. I think probably the cheapest way to do this would be to go over to Visage. Get the acumination of the tongue. And, first, and then go to Visage and get Visage expertise in parts. Not Let's see, I need to get it to 20. If I can get this up to 7, I'm fairly certain that would increase it by 7 when I do this, and all I need is something awaits you, so it doesn't actually cost anything. Well, there would be one cost. I'd have to go to Visage. Time to grab the acumination of the tongue. Oh. I need more sharpness. Damn it. Okay, what else do I get? Liver, lungs, groin. Okay, diminished passion. Breathe less often and more purely. That could be pretty damn useful. Proud indifference to toxins, also potentially very useful. I'll go for this one. Alright. Damn it, I forgot to read the flavor text, damn it. Shit. Okay, acumination of the tongue. Give up soft speech and slow words. Come to know poets, court jesters, liars, and artists in cipher. Tongue point pinnacle. The sharp tongues gather on a point of rock. There is little room for newcomers. The wit is crisp and dry. The diction is precise. Hee. Nothing is slurred, and nothing is said in error. Alright. Anything else that I might care about? Mineralize your skeleton. Strength that cannot be seen is often the most praiseworthy. Walk among the laborers, the circus-strong women, the persons of iron will and unshakable integrity. Yeah, that sounds good to me. The Bone Barrow. The room is oval in cross-section and about 50 feet long. The walls are packed earth rather than stone. The inhabitants take turns to hold up the part of the ceiling that is in danger of caving in. I don't recommend falling from a height, one of the old-timers is saying to a new member. True, you won't break your bones. Now they'll break you. Tear right through your muscle and skin and stick out. Ha! Unless you go the rest of the way and grow a sharp skin, but he shrugs. Bit tasteless that, isn't it? I guess. Let's see. Practice holding the ceiling in place. Care to bet your strength against the other denizens of the Bone Barrow? On success, this will reduce terror. Oh! Try it out. Yeah, 3 terror for 15 echoes. A proud display. Your skeleton bears a lot of the pressure, and your muscles and ligaments have been strengthened too, but much will still depend on your muscular force. The weight of rock depends on your shoulders, your legs, and your lower back, and how can anyone support all that? But you managed long enough to win a hearty cheer and a heartier drink. Alright! That is potential. So, I could potentially just, if I really want to get all the sharpness and all that, I could just spam this a bunch of times, and then I could, and then even if my terror rises ridiculous to maximum, I could just reduce it there for a bit of echoes, and then go to Frostbound and reduce it further, or London and reduce it even more. All right, I don't know why I'd want to do that, but it's a possibility. Oh, they did mention something about the people that have all the sharpness. Some place where they go. That could be interesting. But first, Visage. Time to go. Here we go, Visage. So-called for, well, yes. Alright, this is the point of Visage, where faces may not be naked, except one. A stone monument the size of a village church, serenely gazing upwards, flourishing of years. That's it, it's a wandering person. He glances nervously back at the face of the hill, but his handshake is strong. He seeks passage to the Church of Low Barnet, beneath the Z just outside London. His suit is well tailored for an itinerant preacher. His cufflinks wink with sapphires. Offer passage for knowledge. People like to confide in parsons. What can he confide in you? A small confession. Ah, he gives a knowing smile. You travel to learn as well as to trade, you magnificent bastard. I myself am studying the religions of the Undersea. By extracting the most admirable elements of each, I mean to construct a modern, superior faith. I understand the value, the spiritual value, of course, of hidden knowledge. Once on board, he insists you find a quiet cabin, and whispers one of the secrets he's learned in your ear. Now that is interesting. Alright. Go ashore, inward and upward. Terms. All those who enter must play their parts. The sign is visible only after you've crossed the threshold. On the lower slopes, stone building, flat roofs, archways. In the architecture there lingers a memory of lotus and palm frond. The hill above is a face, forever looking up at the ceiling of the Undersea. No one inhabits its cheeks, or the hollows of its eyes. Alright, when we not wander Visage at will. A changing room. All visitors must pass, one by one, through a room guarded by a person in the mask of a moon moth. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a big fan of the story in Visage. I don't know. Let's see. Alright. Ask about the significance of the mask. Maybe there's more to it than a question of aesthetic taste. Assorted pestilences. Moonmoth explains, each mask declares a different intention towards the denizens of Visage, and must be accompanied by suitable behavior. The frog is for visitors who, though perhaps clumsy and unfamiliar with local etiquette, have come to it in order to observe local ways and to make uncouth comments about them. The locust is for those who seek profit in visage and would carry away as many goods as possible. You prompt about the bat. Moonmoth hesitates. Bat is an ill-omened visitor, sent as a messenger or a spy. Bat always dies. Alright. I'm not sure why I'd want to do that then. But alright. Maybe it's a metaphorical death. I don't know. This is all bizarre. Sure. I'll just... I mean, that seems... bat mask... The bat seems just like a terrible idea. And the frog seems like a... Well... A rather offensive stereotype, frankly. So, locust. Why not? That's basically what I'm here for. It hasn't changed because it's lower than 3. That's interesting. Hunger for all things. Moonmoth settles the locust mask over your head. The eye holes are covered with a thin gold film, through which valuable objects gleam more brightly. May you find a happy harvest, says Moonmoth. Then, when you have partly turned away, it double knots the ties on its purse, as though you're likely to pick its pockets. Doesn't it know you can see it? Of course it does. It's here to... The whole point of this is to be a whole kayfabe, you know? I doubt they have any actual valuable stuff for me to steal. Hang out. It's all silliness. It is all just ridiculousness. I'm sure there's some deep metaphorical thing to it, but honestly it just seems silly. Whatever. Let's see. Pick the pockets of the readers. While they are looking, you can be acquiring. Successful, if not wealthy. You dip your fingers into a crocodile's purse and acquire a few coppers from a heron. The coins here are no more than tiny copper chips, each stamped with an eye sigil. The exchange rate must be thousands of these to the echo, hardly worth taking home. But you have acted as a locust is meant to act anyhow. There are no scrolls for locusts in the Library of Parts. Yes. See what I was saying? They don't act... I doubt they have any actual... I doubt this... I somehow doubt this is even actually their actual currency. Or maybe... I don't know. This is... very confused. Alright, steal the most valuable looking scroll for later sale. It is the sort of thing a locust may do. Alright. More and more. Gilt-edged scrolls. Papyrus bound with emerald green silk bands. Poems of the traversal to the realm of the dead. Into your sack they go, leaving the scroll niches bare. Moonmoth does not see what you do. The carapace of your costume hides everything. Right. The Flood Court. The Moonmoth speaks as though you should already know what that is. The Flood Court is a long stone room with 2 ranks of columns on each side. Currently the court is ankle deep in water, though water stains on the stone show that the flood has reached higher, sometimes up to the height of your waist. In a raised niche at the far end of the room sits a statue of a man with the head of a ram. He holds a jar from which water flows out onto the floor. What a bunch of weirdos. Alright. Alright, gather coin from the flood court floor. Apparently people use it as a wishing well. Yeah. Bloody wishing wells. Anyways. Darn. Take. You wade into the water and begin gathering coins. People watch you from behind their masks. Moonmoth looks uncertain. You're playing the role of locusts flawlessly, but these are sacred. You hesitate for just a moment, your will wavering, and that's enough. The others rush you and drive you out. But you are not made to leave the city at any rate. Alright. Trade masks with the Moonmoth. It has been making subtle overtures for some time. You only now understand them. It is keen to go. It draws you aside into a closet in the customs house. Had enough of visage, it tells you frankly. Yeah, you're telling me. Here, you take my mask and pretend to be me, and I'll trade in the visitor mask and get on some departing ship. Get my life back. Its face. No, now you see, her face, is aging but unlined. A lifetime of never needing to use a facial expression. Definitely don't blame him. I want to leave. I wanted to leave since the moment I got here. But, well, it's to save, it's all to save a life, you know? To save everyone's lives, if you think about it. Alright. And now the place opens up for me. Now. Obviously, this is, hardly the most secure of systems, given how easy it is to just trade match with someone and come and effectively become them. Alright, visit the house of the chief geometer. It is understood to be an honor. Geometer. As in someone who's skilled in geometry, or as in a geometric moth or caterpillar. Knowing this place could be either. Lines in wet ground. Each morning the man in the cobra mask draws lines in the mud flat with a pointed steel rod. This apportions to each inhabitant a small trapezoidal area from which to harvest mushrooms and to scrape salt. No plot is ever preserved from one day to the next. This man is the chief geometer, the keeper of directions, master of land measures and sea measures. Okay, so it's the former. Now you have been invited to his home, at the time customarily appointed for him to receive those who are not his equal in rank, yet not so far beneath him as to deserve to be ignored. What ceremonial gift will you bring? Right. Between this, do not go. It is necessary for him to offer, but incorrect for you to accept. Nothing lost, but nothing gained. You sit at home, in a quake, when he sends a message to reprove you for your non-attendance. Is this also part of the dance? Ugh. Yeah, I don't like this place. Everything is part of the dance. Damn dance. Yeah. Alright. Visit the Temple of Apis. All the denizens of Visage go there sooner or later. Now I'm tempted to not go, just to show the falsehood there. Yeah, whatever. The Wounded God. In the center of the temple is a black bull with a white diamond on its face. It is tied in place with heavy ropes, and is wounded in the thigh. From this wound it bleeds copiously without dying. I've seen more eldritch crap. Yes. Offer to sell them a new, undamaged bull. You can arrange an import through the proper contact. Oh, that's great. Let me see. Oh, collect some of the blood for yourself. Perhaps it is a holy relic. Perhaps it can be sold as one to unsuspecting buyers elsewhere. The priests don't prevent you, but they aren't precisely pleased either. In fact, they are highly suspicious of why Moonmoth would want such a thing until you explain that you need it to educate some especially ignorant and impious visitors. Then they let you go ahead. Oh, daft. Alright. Anything more there? Darn, I lost my chance to do this. Shit. Well, I can collect some more of the blood. Always happy to get a bit of profit. Alright, now visit the side of the face. The stone cheek of Flourishing of Years is visited as a pilgrimage by the inhabitants of Visage, and if you are in good favor, you too may go. At the proper time. You must, of course, wait until your work with this day's crops of frog and locust is complete. It would not be suitable to bring them along. Let's see. Offer instruction to the frog that found its way up here. That's the sort of thing your moth would have done to you. Even though I'm about as lost as the frog is. Creditable on both sides. You tell the frog a partially true story about how this face was carved. The frog replies with an amplified belch, and a story it heard about the sphinxes known as the salt lions. It's really a very good frog. Alright, here we go. Enter the hollow of the ear. It is a place of still greater pageantry. It's a journey of several steps and may conclude your current visit. A proud nose. It is a festival day. The great stone face has been illuminated from forehead to chin with blazing torches, so that the profile is visible from the side more clearly than you have ever seen it. Flourishing of years is awake, says the genderless figure in the crocodile mask. Alright. All the denizens of Visage are walking towards the ear together. There is a place in the procession which belongs by right to the wearer of your mask. Fall in line with the others. How else we discover what lies within? Secretly bringing a flare with you. Perhaps you will need it in the darkness where you are going. Thank goodness I picked up that flare in Fallen London before I came here. Ritual disobedience. It is a risk to bring it, but it would be also a risk to go without. You conceal the flare in the folds of your robe and fall into the procession. At least I didn't fall into the gap. May your sins weigh as stone, says the man in the jackal face, as you fall into line ahead of him. I don't know if that's a comforting thing or a threat. Inside the hollow of the ear. The road you follow leads up through switchbacks, along the side of the face, and finally to the ear of flourishing of years, and into the cave that is her ear. The tunnel bends back on itself, and all lights have now been extinguished. There is nothing to guide you but the hand of the person behind you on your back, and the movement of the person in front of you. The one who walks beside you wears a bat mask. Fortunately, the floor of the tunnel is very smooth and presents no stumbling blocks. Sound carries strangely in this place, however. Sometimes you cannot hear your own footsteps, and sometimes a breath comes back to you audible from someplace ahead in line. Person wearing a bat mask. What is this? Gonna be some sort of ritual sacrifice or something? Continue. There is a secret in the dark. In line. The footsteps of the people are steady and synchronized, and you go together. For how many years has this been done? And for how many will it be done in the future? Watch your step here, says Batmask to you in an undervoice. Its accent is the accent of Wolfstack docks. Floor is about to get squishier. And sure enough, it does. Oh dear. That's troubling. At last, the tunnel opens out. You and all other congregants spread out in a cavernous space. Okay, so we're not even gonna... even question or explain why it's squishy. Okay, then that's how we're playing at that. A voice speaks in the darkness. A ritual preparation. Here at the New Year, we gather under the one mask of flourishing of years. Her face is turned to the gods. Protected by her mask, we may remove our own. Protected by her script, we may speak outside our parts. You know, you could just do that at any time, you fucking cultists. Here and there is the sound of people fumbling with ties and strings. Your own face feels different with the mask off. It's like, I can wait and listen, tell one of my own secrets, or fight the urge to giggle. What curious practices they have here. Yes, that's sort of been my feeling this whole way. What ridiculous practices they have here. It's all so tiresome. You manage to stifle yourself. The only thing that comes out sounds like a sneeze. Here and there, people are talking around you, telling of childhoods in padded nurseries, silenced under the scarab-shaped baby mask. Other pasts, too. Not all lived on Visage. Alright. Rituals end. The hour of confidence is drawing to its end. If there's anything else you need to do, now is the time. Alright. Here we go. Set off a flare, allowing you to see everyone. You will see everything. This will certainly get you kicked off the island. Good. Fuck this place. Ouch. The light is so sudden, so searing, that someone screams. All around you are all sorts of things. Some are human, but you see other faces. Rubbery, clay, some unrecognizably altered. The chief geometer, with his mask off, doesn't seem to be bothering to wear a face at all. Many faces are wet with tears. No one welcomes the blaze of light. People rarely do, and that's all the more reason that it's needed. Someone throws a cloak over the flare. A mistake, because of course it only begins to burn. Yeah, that was a pretty boneheaded thing to do. After that, someone manages to douse both flare and cloak. Who in this crowd was carrying a bucket of water? But it is put out, and someone's hands are clamped firm around your wrist. And that is the last you see of Visage. You are taken blind back to the docks, your face covered in a black cloth that is no mask at all. Alright. Secret and a searing enigma. Secret, the root of all good. Indeed. Alright, now we're done with that silly place. Let's go back. Alright. Time to visit her. Then. Alright. Provide a dry lecture on the social stratification of Visage. Here we go. Curative tedium. You explain the masks. You establish the etiquette associated with each one. You rely upon the most technical of anthropological vocabulary. You allow yourself some reflections upon theories of equivalence, equivalience as they pertain to performative duties in highly dissimulative societies. Yeah. Rosina's nurse touches your elbow. First sound sleep she's had in weeks. Yup. Visage will do that to you. God damn, is it a dull port? She was with a nod at the resting patient. It'll do wonders for her, especially if she can avoid dreaming. Yeah. Alright. Now... oh. Gonna do this. And now we wait. Alright. Now we visit her again. The exact same thing. Alright. Now it's 24. And now, witness Rosina's recovery. She has been looking better and better. If you were hoping for praise, gratitude, and perhaps some thankful tears, they are not forthcoming. Bring my logbook, Rosina tells her nurses. I need to review the records. She looks in your direction. Would you be able to replicate the treatment you gave me? Right. Offer your services. If she would benefit from being taught the means of treatment, you'll be more than happy. An exact accounting. You explain everything that you did, the resources you used, the sources from which you got them. Rosina cross-references this information with her records. Line up temperatures and state of sleep with each dose, she tells her nurses. Don't leave anything out. We will cure this in the end. Oh yeah. And thus, we managed to cure her entirely by just droning on and on about Visage. Yes, that's right. Visage is such a fucking boring port that it was able to cure a disease that kills you using your own passion. It's able... Visage can cure passion, effectively. God, Visage is a dumb place. Alright, speak to her about her history. How did she come to take animescence? And I just realized there was absolutely no crossover between her and the Abdominal Campaigner. That's such a missed opportunity. Such a wasted opportunity, damn it. I ran the Animescence Hospital at Adams Way. I was scrupulous, was never present when a patient burst into flame. When I felt too much pity, I would reassign staff, but I was less cautious outside the hospital. She goes to her stock of instruments and swabs in each ice water. I had received news that an enemy of mine was shamed and embarrassed. I was so carried away with angry pleasure. I actually think I was talking to myself. Of course, in that mood, I was far too vulnerable not to take the disease, when an animescent beggar combusted in the street. The Nidaheen sent him to infect me. Christ, that's vile. What news gave her such angry pleasure? She was being elusive about the detail. A savage smile. The presbyterate do not share their immortality, she says, and holds a blade in the flame. But one of them made an exception for his daughter, and broke all the laws of his kind to send her the gift, because he hoped it would reconcile the rift between them. Her face is blank where anger would be, if her spleen were not a prism. Miriam, the daughter, she gave away the gift to a Kaganian general, to spite her father and punish the presbyterate. The last person they would have wanted to immortalize. I found that outcome satisfying. sounds as such. Ah, that's glorious. Oh, I can seek healing from Rosina with something awaits you, a couple supplies. Very nice. Alright, now, restore Rosina to her role as healer of the Seven. She is recovered now, and the cause needs her. Will she return? Vengeance. Rosina's smile is as sharp as her spleen. Yes, I have unsettled business with the Nidahin. Tell Miriam I am ready. And thank you, you magnificent bastard, for allowing me a second opportunity. I have been unable to consider revenge for these last 10 years, for fear of accelerating my condition. Now I find it difficult to think of anything else. Hell yeah. Yeah. If I had asked her beforehand, it would have opened up the possibility to replace her with someone else, but where would be the fun in that? Anyways, let me just... now, that's more or less a good stopping point, but first, I should test out that... I should see what happens when I go fully sharp. Here we go. 7 sharpness. 7 is the number. The maximum, rather. Alright, I can have 4, so I can have 3 more, and there's 3 more. Okay, good. Go sharp in the liver. Take on a proud indifference to toxins. Fraternize with spies, assassins, professional poisoners, and those who need to survive on strange diets. Yeah, I actually know what that's like. I had to subsist on poisonous mushrooms for quite a while at one point. Not entirely that. I had other foods, but that was... I had to scrounge from mushrooms. Yeah, ever since then I've had something of a taste for them. Poisonous mushrooms specifically. Give them a nice kick to the flavor, you know? Yeah. Well, maybe you don't. In fact, you probably don't. But I do. The Salon of Silver Salts. Heh. Nice alliteration. When you have grown liver sharp, you may take the left exit from the main chamber of Anth and descend a staircase gritty underfoot. The Salon of Silver Salts is hung with small lights, and the inhabitants look ordinary. They are sipping arsenical teas and dining on poisonous toadstools. I mean, I already did that before I was... well, the poisonous toadstools thing. Before I got the liver. I mean, I do that in real life, you know? I've been doing that since I was pretty young. Back on the streets. I used to pick all sorts of mushrooms and eat them. After a great deal of vomiting and stomach aches and such, I eventually developed a tolerance for it. Now I actually prefer them. The poisonous mushrooms, it gives it a nice kick. I even make alcohol out of it. Yeah, but yeah, the whole mushroom wine stuff in this game, it's a real thing. It's less popular because there are usually easier options. That's the thing. It's quite good. Especially with poisonous mushrooms. A woman in the corner offers a constant flow of wit at the expense of jaundice victims. Another wears the tattered remains of an iron and misery uniform. Right. Flourish in the groin. Diminish passion, promote hygiene, perfect performance, and dazzle in the onlookers. Oh my. Pursue the company of Anth's nuns, celibates, dancers, and brothel habitués. The Chamber of Pillow-Cut Rock. The walls of the chamber are hard, but the facets and the deep red color give them the shimmer of whorehouse velvet. One reclining gentleman demonstrates what, in another context, you might take for a gigantic pair of matched blue topazes. But for the most part, the inhabitants wear cream-colored robes and make no display of their altered state. Your dimensions do not change, only your substance. Now, let your skin be clear as water and hard as armor. This is where the fighters are, and those who got tired of their scars, and the people too proud to hide anything about themselves. The blistering abyss. The sharp-skinned of Anth have no reason to fear heat, or edged implements, or bruising rocks. Snakes and stinging insects are a game to them. The suicide of wasps on crystal Anthian skin is one of their primary sources of comedy. Oh, so there are wasps down here. That's interesting. Or maybe they import them. These people have the most to do if they wish to conceal their condition from those above the Undersea. They almost never leave Anth, but if they do, they wrap themselves in bandages and pass as tomb colonists, or mask themselves like a native of visage. Yeah. Alright. Visit the Garden of the Sharpest. You are almost all sharp after all. A broad tunnel. The vines that hang along the tunnel walls are nurtured crystal. Their fruit glitters. Their fallen leaves wobble without breaking underfoot. In time, the tunnel opens to a vista, a grand cavern. It is a cavern of giants. They were all at one time men or women or other creatures you might meet familiarly at a London street. Familiarly, but they are larger now, grown like oaks into the cavern floor. Their bodies are clear as lens glass. Their faces are past the necessity of expression. They are your superiors, but you have come far enough that they are willing to help you if you wish. Now that you can develop at most one of these areas, you will not be able to change your mind. Choose wisely. Okay. Turn your muscles to stone, like rock. Harden your heart to a chunk of salt. Harden your wits to a point. Or train your eyes to sharpness with their help. So I can increase iron, parts, pages, and mirrors. Not veils, though. I guess that makes sense. So I can only do this once. Damn. There goes my plans to repeatedly do this. To gain boosts to my stat. It's exploit. The whole exploit with the terror and stuff just became a lot less valuable now that I know the whole increasing full sharpness stuff is a one-time bonus. Well. That's pretty disappointing. I might as well increase, well... Increasing... I already have a lot of mirrors, but if I increase one of the... It would be somewhat of a waste to increase one of the others, because all of them can potentially be raised by the officers instead. Well, either way, it's a boost of, effectively a boost of secrets. I'll grab irons, actually. I could use a boost to irons. Turn your muscles to stone, like a rock, between the skin and the bone. Your instructor squeezes you painfully between her finger and her thumb. This will hurt, she says without sympathy, and it will take a long time. You must go sharp without becoming too inflexible. Keep all the proper links between bone and bone. Respect the ligaments. All day you lie still, developing the sharpness of your muscles. And then at night, your instructor hits you with a stick to break the bad connections. Each morning, you begin again. Alright, plus 5 iron, I guess. Yeah, whatever. It's certainly a sizable bonus, but yeah, it does make it feel fairly pointless to return here. Basically, you've done everything I care about here. Alright then. Time to end the video then. I was hoping to find I was hoping from my distant recollections of this place that I might be able to obtain some ridiculously overpowered way of obtaining stats, but alas. Let's see, we did a little bit of stuff with the Pirate Poet, then we did stuff, and that was fun, and so was the stuff with the Dapper Bloke. The stuff on Visage was less fun. That place is terminally boring. And the stuff on Anth was also kind of, meh. Overall, a mediocre episode. But next time, we'll do something about all this terror. Swing by Frostfound to do this stuff with the Pirate Poet. And then we'll swing by Undercrow to deal with the 6th of the 7. Until then, I have been Joe Bob, and I'm very peeved. And remember, dislike the video, unsubscribe if you're for some reason subscribed, and leave a nasty comment in the comment section down below. So long, suckers.